And tonight on CBS News.
In a shocking development, the federal government says being broke is allowed, but if you're broke and glowing, you are officially now a suspect.
You can't be glowing more than your financial status. Look your problem.
Producers have confirmed next season of Love Island will merge with the Hunger Games. Only one couple will survive the new format. Everyone else dies.
Senator Buck Nutley has unveiled his Big Girthy bill, a new proposal meant to rival the Big Beautiful bill. But does size really matter?
The shocking trend of Labubu violation continues as more and more people are finding their dolls' holes stretched wide open and reeking of shame.
If you thought Bigfoot was bad, wait till you meet his gooey cousin. A kumsquatch was just spotted in Dongwood National Forest.
Did you know IKEA has released a home glory hole kit called the Fuke Hole? It includes pre-drilled panels, mounting brackets, and a stain-proof finish. We begin with breaking news out of Massachusetts, where residents are reeling from what scientists are calling a cum-comet impact.
Officials are asking everyone to stay indoors and to wear N95 masks in case of cum aerolization.
We have breaking news. A laser-guided ship missile has just been launched from Rectomopolis, reportedly targeting Pennsylvania.
We're live from the scene where a laser-guided ship missile launched from Rectomopolis has struck Pennsylvania. This just in, a pubnador blankets St. Louis in a thick bush this evening.
Downtown is completely covered in pubic hair, causing highways to close out of caution.
It's coming right for us. We need to get out of here now. Oh my God, it's taking the houses. A massive gizzard has buried Kamlambus in 2 feet of dongload. Locals blame the lack of preparation on Mayor Linda P. Slurp.
The city of Columbus is reeling today after an unprecedented event. What officials are calling a gizzard has left downtown streets. Customs officials at Orbital Port 69 have seized over 420 stolen jork blades, many still warm and dripping. A magnitude 6.9 queefquake rattled Clamlip Valley this morning, releasing a torrent of pussy farts. The children's reading session of This Little Piggy Got Pegged has been cancelled, with parents saying the book is too anatomically detailed for kids.
Lawmakers remain deadlocked on the Big Beautiful bill, with some saying $10 billion more is needed for fleshlights and robo-cooters for dudes on dry spells.
Los Angeles, because she served her fried chicken instead of a quinoa salad. Megan Mayonnaise went to the restaurant called The Last Supper, where she claimed she was flabbergasted that they would serve her fried chicken when she in fact ordered a quinoa salad. Ms. Mayonnaise said waitress Sharkeisha Trinity knowingly gave her fried chicken, although Ms. Mayonnaise pleaded that she didn't want to eat any urban food. We have Ms. Mayonnaise along with her attorney, Roger Bangher. Can you explain how you were feeling, Ms. Mayonnaise?
I told Sharkeisha Trinity 300 times, let me speak with your manager. And she just kept twerking, sticking her tongue out and laughing at me.
We have exclusive CCTV footage from the restaurant of Miss Mayonnaise and Sharkeisha's fried chicken confrontation.
Ms. Mayonnaise is suing Sharkeisha Trinity for everything she got, which is 3 deadbeat fathers and $100 in unpaid child support.
We need your $80,000 down payment now.
Can I do 6 child support checks, 1 EBT card, 10 Section 8 credits, and 2 Medicaid payments?
We take it all.
Welcome back to White News Network. I'm your host, Kimberly Kumquat. Today, the BFI released documents that claim no special files exist from that one famous island. Wink, wink. BFI director said, quote unquote, although you've seen plenty of known people at that island, no American people, you were just seeing shit. The BFI office also released perfectly edited 24-hour surveillance footage of that jail cell where the main guy in charge was being held. At this point, these guys are playing in our face. Most of you are too blind to see it.
Welcome back, folks, to the White News Network. I'm your host, Tom Blandley, and tonight a white woman is leaving her husband after trying a YN.
HOA President Skylar White told WNN she is filing for divorce because, quote unquote, after trying a YN, you never go back. Her husband, Kevin White, owner of Proud Boys Country Club, says he is devastated by the news and that it is, quote unquote, total malarkey. The divorce hearing is set for July 13th at Cornbread District Family Court. If Mrs. White wins, she will be entitled to half of his shit that she never worked for. Next up, rock star Roger Bangher has already impregnated 3 women on his Fuckfest tour. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Want to do some totally unnecessary shit like mountain jump with a fly suit on? Then head over to whitepeopleshit.com.
Whitepeopleshit.com.
Swim with sharks. It's a blast. Make memories that last.
Whitepeopleshit.com.
Yo, what up, what up, what up, what up? All right, we in the building. Yo, salute to the chat. What up, chat? Yo, I see what you say. I see you, brother Zeke. What you say? He said, thought MTV News Desk wasn't going to happen tonight. Yeah, man, we ran a little late. I was on the phone handling business with Saul. We up in here, though. Kwame, all right, bet. Yo, what up, Playboy? All right, we're gonna start with your joint at the top. I'm glad you in the chat. Yo, what up, chat? Yeah, we in here late night Pookie and Ray Ray show, brother Z, Kwame. All right, Saul in the building. Man, let's do some news. Kwame Kaiju sent me this story. This actually didn't get a lot of airplay, but there was a knife. I mean, I saw it get a little traction in the news, but well, let me put it this way. I saw the attack at the Walmart, a stabbing at a Walmart, get some play in the news. But the hero was a black man who was a Marine. So Kwame Kaiju sent me this story. So let's give old boy some airplay, and because this is pretty much how black men get down. So let's get his kudos. Let's go through this story real quick, and then we'll get into some politics. Let's go.
Throw the knife that way. Throw it away.
This morning, a hero who helped stop a man accused of stabbing multiple people at a Walmart in Traverse City, Michigan, speaking out exclusively with ABC News.
I didn't think of anything other than trying to get him away from people and get him isolated and get him to put the knife down.
Former Marine Derek Perry says he was checking out at the Walmart Saturday afternoon when he heard a commotion.
A lady was like screaming for her son, and all the employees and patrons were clamoring, trying to run in different directions.
The suspect, 42-year-old Bradford James Gilly, fleeing to the parking lot. Perry and others dropping their groceries to surround the man. Perry pulled his gun. It's legal to open carry in Michigan.
Unfortunately, there was kind of like a mob.
Yo, let's run that down. I know they was actually going to show the clip footage. Yo, my man had the Roscoe on him, point blank, not playing no games. Yo, shout out to black man. Salute the AC.
It's legal to open carry in Michigan.
Unfortunately, there was kind of like a mob mentality, and some very disturbing things were being said on how to deal with the situation. And I had to block all of that out and focus on him, because I ultimately just wanted him to put the knife down and back away until law enforcement got there. I did not see myself as any type of judge, jury, or executioner. I just wanted everyone to be safe.
Did he say anything to you? Were you able to kind of get a state of mind?
And I can see in his eyes that he was wild-eyed, and he did not look like.
Yo, let me just say something. Look at his brother's demeanor. Former Marine. This was like a mass stabbing, not a mass shooting. This was a mass stabbing at a Walmart. But look at his brother's demeanor, calm, cool, collected, the everyday man. And let me say that we've covered this on this channel. We speak to this, like this is the disposition of pretty much the general everyday man here in the States, here in America, right? So with all of this ongoing how should I say misandry towards black men, every day it shows that the campaign against us is fallacious. The passport bros prove that. The Pew research proved that. Like I said, we are the heroes of this country, and he's a Marine. My dad was a Marine. Kwame is a Marine. I'm glad he sent me this story. Let's let some more of this play out.
He was in his right mind, and he was saying, they told me to do it. They told me to do it, and call 911. I said, they're on their way. They're coming.
On Monday, Gilly formally charged with terrorism and 11 counts of assault with the intent to murder. He pleaded not guilty to all charges. telling a police officer before the arraignment he did not want to participate.
Do I have to do this? I don't want to.
Never once, Perry says, did he consider actually pulling the trigger.
I took time to actually look and listen and try to understand his mind state and see that, yes, I am in a position to do something very rash, but it's ultimately my decision to not do it as well. Just de-escalate the situation, try to get him to surrender on his own accord.
Perry, who works in a hospital, says he doesn't feel like a hero.
The only thing that separated me from the other gentleman that had stepped in as well was what I was carrying in my hands. I think I would have ran out there or walked out there and helped either way. It was just a moment of, I've got a duty to protect.
You heard what he said? It's just that I got a duty to protect. And like I said, I think this is the general disposition of the everyday black man. And the conversations, like I said, it plays out every day. Bro, when I've made this point too, this whole black fatigue thing, it's code. It's really Keisha fatigue. And believe it or not, the first person I actually heard actually articulate that and say that was a white guy. It might have been Osmond, but I think it was Osmond Gold. And he was saying, like, no, when they're saying it's black, because he was doing some clip on something, and he was like, no. He was like, it's not black fatigue, it's black woman fatigue, it's Keisha fatigue. And then I've heard that be reiterated. The black man's image is post Kevin Samuels, man. We've been doing a very good job at protecting our image, and the Passport Bro movement in particular highlighted our image globally. Like I said, this is an everyday man is a veteran, but veteran or not, this is the general disposition of black men in general. And we've had to have the conversation down here that, okay, black men are generally predisposed to this, and maybe we should be taking a step back, especially with regard to jumping into things, trying to defend these Keishas, not knowing what's going on, and getting bodied for that, or getting charges pressed against on us after we try and help a Keisha.
Perry credits the other bystanders who helped him, saying that they were unarmed and still jumped into action. Police say if not for all of their selflessness, this situation could have been much worse, guys.
Yeah, we're glad it wasn't. Thank you so much for that, Mola.
All right, bet. Thanks to Kwame for sending me that. He sent me a bunch more stuff too. I'll be working through these news stories, each segment a bit at a time. And I did check my Cash App. Kwame Kaju, thank you for the Cash App. Kwame says, F all you hoes.
Man, fuck all you hoes. Fuck you and your mammy and your granny too. Man, fuck all you hoes. I'm sick of this shit. Fuck all you hoes. Man, fuck all you. Don't give a damn, bitch, what you wanna do. Man, fuck all you. Man, fuck all you.
Yo, and we got Saul in the chat. And Saul with the Cash App.
We got more pricey games coming up in the second half of the show. Don't go away, folks. We got more pricey games coming up in the second half of the show. Don't go away, folks. We got more pricey games coming up.
Riker, my good fortune is your good fortune.
I don't need your fantasy women.
Oh, you're so stolid. You weren't like that before the beard. Very well.
All right, bet, let's go. I was actually having a conversation with Saul right before we went on the air, and he wants to continue to double down on Trump's report card, as it were, successes during this first 6 months of his administration, because we talked the majority of the brothers into backing that play. And we've covered it bit by bit on the news desk a few times on the Sunday show, just keeping score. But here's Speaker Johnson with Kilmeade, and this Trump term has done so many great things so far. House Speaker says. This House Speaker from Republican representing Los Angeles. Make sure my volume is good. Let's go.
He's been in the middle of the action. Louisiana Congressman Mike Johnson. Mr. Speaker, great to see you. First off, your thought about what I just said. Investigation's important, but the other stuff is what matters.
Brian, you're exactly right. I think you summarized that so well. I would say the same myself. I tell you what, we are bullish about the future because America is back. This first 6 months, we just celebrated the first 6 months of the Trump administration. Brian, we've delivered more between this Congress and this administration than any Congress and administrative team in the history of the United States. There's so much to sell, so much to talk about.
Yeah, did you hear that? So when Trump be talking, it don't be hyperbole. Right off at the beginning of this administration, with regard to Congress, under Trump's direction, with his initiatives, big beautiful bill, etc., tariffs, everything, he said they've delivered more from Congress and the slew of accomplishments than any administration in history. And, you know, they can quantify that.
So many great things. The polls are lagging, but they are going to improve. We know that for a certainty because, for example, with the big, beautiful law, the big, beautiful bill, the reason the approval rating is so low is because the Democrats and the mainstream media have spent so much time on their misinformation campaign. They have told people about this, that things that are just simply not true, and they're demonstrably untrue. So what that means is we've now sent all the members of Congress home for the annual August district work period. Our House Republicans, Brian, are blitzing across the country. They're going to go out and tell people the truth about all the extraordinary things that we've delivered, all the things in the big, beautiful law, and all the things coming down the pike. So better days are ahead. We're going to do this and hit our stride right in time for the midterm election in 2026. And I'm telling you what, our best days are ahead of us, my friend. We have laid the groundwork, and we're going to go keep delivering.
And you have a lot to do with that. I mean, the way you, Senator Thune, and the president work together has been phenomenal with very small margins. And I think Democrats are really surprised by it personally. You got about a 219, 212 advantage with 4 vacancies now in the House. And history says you're going to lose the majority, although you have a different take, especially with these historic lows. Would also say with historic low Democratic polling. What stands out for me is the money that's coming in. For example, on these data centers. I was struck today, this week, when I talked to one of the executives at Meta. They're building in Louisiana, in a working class area, a brand new data center.
Bang! There you go. Meta, i.e., Facebook, has had all of its data centers and the majority of its corporate sourcing and companies they're headquartered here in the state, but the majority have been overseas. He's got Meta building a data center right there in Louisiana. That's jobs. Trump bringing them, creating an economy that is going to stimulate, and these are private sector jobs. We talked about the Keishas losing the 300K jobs in the government subsidized job market. Private sector jobs. The private sector jobs are real jobs. Right there. And like I said, that's going to be built right there in Louisiana.
And they need plumbers. They need pipe fitters. They need electricians. And they're
You heard that? They need plumbers. They need pipe fitters. They need electricians. Brothers is in the trades.
paying about $200,000 each. I mean, is Louisiana ready to absorb this? Is America able to fill those jobs?
Absolutely. We got hardworking, conscientious folks. They're ready for that opportunity. And that'll be one of the largest data centers ever constructed. But the good news is, Brian, there's more of that coming to other areas around the country, in rural areas where these data centers will be constructed. There'll be more jobs, more innovation, more opportunity for more people. What we did with the One Big Beautiful Bill, and which is now the law, is we've created a pro-growth economy. There's so much in there. Jet fuel for the U.S. economy so that all...
Oh, I didn't know you was a trucker, Zeke. You're a trucker and getting your AWS popping. We got a lot of truckers in Theo's boot camps. A lot of guys who do construction and stuff. His star pupil, Jay Remo, one of his first students was a carpenter who never touched a computer in his life. You know what I mean? Real success stories.
All boats will rise. Remember, after the first 2 years of the first Trump administration, prior to COVID, we had the greatest economy in the history of the world because we did the things that we always said we believed in. We cut taxes, we cut regulations, we gave everybody more opportunity. Brian, this time we're doing it on steroids. This bill, this legislation is much broader than what we did in the first term. So everybody's going to feel that. And more of that opportunity, more of that ingenuity is going to happen. America's back. We are the great superpower on the planet. Everybody around the world's taking notice. Our allies are applauding and our enemies are shaking in their boots. It's a great time to be an American. It's a great time to be a Republican.
And in 2025 and in the 26 midterms, the thing that's different now is the margins are going to be small for either party. And I guess it's because so few House seats are up for in danger, for example. I mean, there are 13 House seats that Dems have won in districts the president polled better. Overall, the GOP seats that in possible jeopardy, they label at 29. How do you feel about both those numbers?
I feel great. When I say we're bullish about the 2026 midterm, we really are. We're going to grow the House majority for the Republican Party. Lots of reasons for that. You've implied a few of them tonight, but we had a true demographic shift in the 2024 election. Record numbers of Hispanic and Latino voters, Black and African American voters, Jewish voters, union workers, people.
Those Black and African American voters were black men. What, Keisha voted Harris, 85 to 90%?
Who came to the Republican Party, who had not traditionally been there in large numbers. We've now just delivered for them and will continue to do so they'll stay with us. And then we have that very favorable election map. As you said, 13 House Democrats sitting.
Yo, Pookie and Ray Ray show. He said, I'm on the road right now outside Laredo and plan to be attending the conclave. Bro, definitely. Brother Zeke's attending the conclave too. He took his AWS practitioner cert before the conclave. He just did that on his dolo. Bro, I'm in the GCP class. I'm in the AWS class, and I guess I'll be in the class you guys are going into, class 7. It's an incredible network. And it's life-changing if you buckle down and commit to the work. A lot of success stories in there. Kwame says, my son is also on a road trucker. And you said trucker to independent contractor. Bro, we got the life's blood of the economy down here in the space. And we got both sectors. We got the truckers and the guys in the trades, and we got the IT guys. I mean, bro. Black men, we up, bro. We up. We got guys actively involved and getting involved in the pieces of the economy that's growing the economy. And this presidency is playing out and proving that these cases just been subsidized by the state, man. We did the show last night. What is it? Heavily in education and human resources and government. And those Doge-related cuts were what? For cutting waste, redundancies. And that's accounting for that tremendous 300K. Keisha's losing their jobs. And they are the only demographic whose unemployment number went up that sector. And black men's employment numbers went up somewhere between 2 to 4%. Bro, black men, we up, bro. Oh, Brother Z said, yo, you in Blacksburg, South Carolina right now? Bro, we nationwide and we global.
in districts that Trump won. They're terrified. We only have 3 House Republicans in districts that Kamala Harris won. Lopsided map, offensive opportunity for us. We're going to go out and take those seats back and grow that majority. So my job's just a little bit easier, Brian.
Mr. Speaker, your life was so simple in the first term, but much simpler in the first term, less responsibility. Real quick, are you for the redistricting that the president's pushing for in Texas and Ohio? Because in response...
Damn, Perfect Square. He said, I'm supply chain logistics and analytics, also finance and accounting. But the ultimate goal is law school. Bro, no, we not slouches down here, bro. Like, they be saying about building and the work getting done and everything. On the outside looking in, it just looks like all these brothers is just down here having conversations, talking and like. But bro, all these conversations is translated into the real world, man. We got quantifiable, tangible results. We got receipts on the table, man. Over 50% of black men single without children, and their income going up. Bro, it's going to be a good 4 years, and if we get Vance in, it'll be another good 4. Brothers just need to stay focused, buckled in, and stay away from all these plantation politics and this Keisha nonsense. I think we're going to see a huge win collectively, and since we keep track of the facts, data, and statistics, we're going to keep watching those critical statistics numbers. Employment, we're going to watch the employment numbers. We're going to watch the incarceration rate numbers. We're going to watch the numbers, percentage of black men in STEM. We're going to see if the overall income household earning numbers for black men go up. We're going to keep track and see if there are any changes to family court, if there are any mandatory paternity testing laws passed. We focused, man.
The Democrats say, we're going to do it to you in New York and California.
California has a problem. They've got to amend their state constitution, as I understand the law out there, to do it. Look, we have to fight for every inch of ground in the country. We're in an era of small margins, as you said, because of gerrymandering and redistricting, but they have to follow the law. I'm convinced the red states will, and we will probably have a few more seats out of that. And of course, that's good news for me.
Absolutely. Speaker Johnson, thanks so much. Enjoy your month at home.
All right, but that's a good segment. Perfect Square says, what are the most lucrative certs? Everybody messing with Theo. We doing cloud, and cloud is about to be $1 trillion industry in the next few years. Data centers are being built out. As you know, the coding and the software engineer, the DevOps stuff, they're laying them off left and right at all the big companies because the AI can do a lot of the coding now faster and even now better than most of the software engineers. But cloud is a blue ocean. I get that term from Theo. And here's the thing: is we're in a AI arms race at the moment, and you can't have AI without cloud. So I highly recommend all brothers, if they can, enroll into Theo's boot camp. It's a huge community there. Just brothers just working. And like I said, a lot of these brothers, we got guys that are COs, a lot of guys in construction there. We got a handful of guys that come from the IT and tech industry, but most people that are in these classes and leveling up had little to no computer experience at all. Brother Zeke says, I'm looking into machine learning certs too. Yeah, definitely that as well. But like I said, that also coincides with cloud. You do machine learning on the cloud as well. He said, what's the ticket? It's the Black Manosphere Conclave. Oh man, do I have the website? I was promoting it on the community tab. Hold on, let me see if I have it here so I could drop the link. That's my bad. I should actually be on that. Manosphere. Damn it. Oh, Perfect Square. Here. Email me and I'll email you the link. Here, I'm gonna put my email in the chat right now. Hold on, Machismo. TV 365 at Gmail. Email and put your screen name in the subject line so I know it's you, and I'll email you a link to it. And then I'll tomorrow, and I'm supposed to keep reposting the conclave link on the community tab. On the community tab anyway, so brothers could check it out. But yeah, just put your screen name perfect square in the subject line, and I'll email you the link. And then, like I said, if you check the community tab, I'll keep reposting it. Pookie and Ray Ray Show says, I majored in computer science my first semester in college and changed my major after the first month because I couldn't stand writing algorithms. But that was 93, 94. Hell yeah. I was a computer engineering major for my first 3 years. I ended up changing my major second semester junior year, and it was brutal. Yeah, and and we were programming in Fortran and COBOL back then. Bang, there you go. Brother Zeke dropped the link in the chat. Thank you, sir. There you go. There you go. And as a matter of fact, somebody let me know, because we actually do have a spare ticket to the conclave that was bought early. And we actually, you know what? I'm going to talk to Saul, and we're going to do an announcement on the Sunday show and let everybody know that we're giving away a ticket to the conclave. But we actually have a ticket, a spare ticket. Bet. All right, let's load up this next story, this next news segment. All right, we're only 34 minutes in. So I got a bunch of stuff. We got Kwame in the building. If Storm shows up, we'll do I got a by the numbers segment lined up also. Cool. Let's do this. My guy Scott Jennings over on CNN. I like this guy a lot, and he is the only reason to watch the Abby Phillips show at night. But he be handing them Democrats and liberals on the panels their heads. So I'm gonna play a piece of this interview he did with my guy too, Bet David, over at Valuetainment. But they had a very it's a longer stream that he did. This is a piece, but it's a very, very good conversation. Really, I'm not subscribed to Valuetainment. Okay, it's a very good conversation, and I want to highlight some of this conversation because when Scott gives his answers to these questions and this conversation with Bet David, you're going to see that there's a lot of parallels in his talking points that mirror a lot of the things that we say collectively, us black men, as far as the politics over here, on our Sunday shows and everything, his stances, and it's funny to me because it's like somehow our talking points and our perception on what's going on politically now, they are starting to mirror some of the smarter pundits and analysts and talking heads in the mainstream media and in that sphere. And the alignment is uncanny.
One more time, folks. The Democratic brand is so bad that they don't have the credibility to be a critic of Trump. You don't have no moral authority to say anything bad about Trump or the Republican Party today. Voters trust Republicans over Democrats on inflation by 10 points, immigration by 17 points, handling illegal immigrants by 17 points. Though they disapprove Trump tariffs by 17 points, which we'll get to that here in a minute, with Republicans still scoring 7 points higher than Democrats on that issue. Anzalone stated, until they reconnect with real voters and working people on who they're for and what their economic message is, they're going to have problems. Scott, thoughts on the story?
Well, Democrats, because of the Biden presidency, because they lied about Joe Biden's condition, because they lied to the country about the inflationary impacts of his policies, have dug themselves the deepest hole they've ever been in the history of their party. That's number one. Number two, cultural radicalism. I mean, when the hills you're willing to die on.
Now, let me stop it right there because I just want to follow his train of thought. This is someone asking him his opinion, and he's just making a comment. This isn't even so much like a what do you call it? Like a partisan argument he's making. This is a rational, logical observation of the state of affairs and the chain of events, and it's very similar to the political conversation the brothers are having down here. Like, we're not intrinsically a Republican Party. Our assessment in terms of the political arena was based on, like I said before, what's in it for me. And we followed a very similar line of thinking. Just, hey, let's look at these things, and none of this resonates with me. And these are very just more so commonsensical conclusions.
On our boys and girls sports, paying for transgender surgeries of inmates, which Kamala Harris had in the last election. When you're willing to die on these hills, when you're willing to go and say Maryland man unfairly deported back to his home country. I mean, when you're willing to die on all these 80-20 hills, eventually your approval rating will wind up, I'm no mathematician, but around 20.
Yeah, exactly.
They're getting there. And so this hole they've dug themselves in, like, if I can't trust you not to put a boy in my daughter's locker room, why would I talk to you about taxation policy?
Hello. Did you catch that? What he just said? That's just blind. That's a blinding, commonsensical argument. That's not even a policy argument. You heard what he said? And we've made that argument down here.
I'm no mathematician, but around 20.
Yeah, exactly.
They're getting there. And so this hole they've dug themselves in, like, if I can't trust you not to put a boy in my daughter's locker room, why would I talk to you about taxation policy?
He said, if I can't trust you not to put a boy in my daughter's dressing room or bathroom, why would I trust you when it comes to taxation policy? And that's really the basis along which Trump ended up pulling away a huge section of, like, black male voters and voters from other constituency, or just this common sense stuff. Like, bro, y'all got dudes going in the little girls' bathrooms and stuff like that. We can't rock with that. You know what I'm saying? Real simple. Salty Balls in the building with the $10 super chat. He says that it seems like even the young Turks ain't even got nothing to promote the Dems. Yo, the Turks is turning on them left and right, especially Anna Kasparian. Young Turks is like,
Man, fuck all you hoes. Fuck you and your mammy and your granny too. Fuck all you hoes. I'm sick of this shit. Fuck all you hoes. Don't give a damn, bitch, what you wanna do. Fuck all you hoes.
all right, but let's play some more of this.
Or inflation, or tariffs, or anything else. You're trying to put a boy in my girl's locker room.
That's right.
Why? And so I agree with Anzalone. By the way, he's a serious pollster. He's been around the Democratic Party forever. This is a serious guy. He's got it dead right. They have no credibility to
Is he a
criticize.
liberal himself? Or
Yes, he is one of the most sought after Democratic pollsters. The Wall Street Journal poll, they get a Democrat and a Republican, two serious people. They do the poll together. Anzalone knows Democrats. He knows campaigns, and what he said right there is dead right.
Wow.
Dead right. He is a serious guy.
By the way, when you look at this, Scott, question for you. So this is the net favorability of each party, right? Tom, I need your help on this one here. Up until 2004, if you look at 4, for the most part, both of them are positive, right? And then all of a sudden, Republicans fall. That's obviously under Bush. Obama gets a little bit of a spike in 08, and then he starts falling. And then Biden has a massive crash. And Republicans since 2006 have relatively stayed at that -10 number, if you look at that. But what is the difference that caused this go from being positive, everybody was positive, then all of a sudden everybody being negative? How did that happen? Tom, what would you say?
Well, there's two things. There's been erosion of Americans' trust in government. And so when you talk about net favorability of each party, you say, how many of you favor, how many of you unfavor, and what's the difference there? So the Republicans have had a minus 10% favorability. And if you take a look at the core of it, goes in, it started crashing like 04, which is basically Bush's second term, and then stayed down when Obama was elected in 8, reelected in 12, and then only recently did the lines cross. But you take a look at what happened. Starting with Obama's reelection, the Democrat unfavorability, as the average voter is finding out what it really means and what they stand for, putting a boy in my daughter's locker room, what really doesn't work economically. The story of the chart is that even though people have eroded trust of the Republican Party, it has stayed level and picked up just a tick since Obama. However, starting with Obama, the Dems dropped below the line in 08. See that, Pat?
Yeah.
And went, and look at the plummet, because it doesn't work. The Bernie side, the AOC side, the Marxist side, the DEI side does not work, and it's leading to these high negatives. And I have a lot of respect also for Anzalone. He's one of the ones I read and I respect. Also respect Mark Mitchell over at Rasmussen. Mark knows what he's doing, and they're seeing the same things. They're seeing the same things, and they're also seeing that you can't.
Yo, you see, he just shouted out Mark over at Rasmussen polls. That's who we do. That's our main go-to for the by the numbers section. Mark and Rasmussen, some of the best in the business. So, like, yeah, we working with good data sets. We got a good pulse of what's going on in the country domestically as it relates to both the Republicans and the Democrats, and what things are looking like moving into the midterms. Man, we doing good work over here.
Look at parties uniquely like this. You have to peel back a little bit. And on issues, the real story is what you read on the issues, is issue by issue, Americans trust Republicans by 10 points on inflation, by 17 points on immigration, by 7 points on tariffs. What else is there, right? So what is eroding it? If the Republicans are leading on that, what is happening here? What's happening here is all of the DEI and the woke fallout has crushed the Democrat Party. Now, we've got a...
Bingo. He said all the DEI and all the... Y'all already said it. The fruity shit then crushed the Democratic Party. Yo, y'all wallet in the chat. Saul said, that fruity shit done him in. Pause. Universal Black said, fruity fatigue. Kwame says, man, I hope that don't let tethers in the juke joint show up. Oh yeah, bro. Yeah, that's who it is, Saul. Kwame said it. The person's name, the person's name in the chat last night was "Don't let tethers in the juke joint." That's who showed up and was saying that. Yeah, shout out to brother Zeke dropping the conclave hyperlink for you to get tickets for it in the chat. Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah, because Kwame saying, he said, I hope that don't let tethers in the juke joint shows up tonight. Yeah, that's who showed up in the chat last night. Don't let tethers in the juke joint.
Year to pull a madman, like the candidate in New York, I call him madman, and flip the script using the tools of modern communication. What did you call it? The
modern communications ecosystem.
Yeah, the modern communications ecosystem, where you step away from cable, you step away the dominance of 4 channels on TV.
So you heard that Scott Jennings call. He's calling what's going on down here in the unit in What he said, the modern communications. Hold on.
TV,
Hold on.
podcast, flip the script using the tools of modern communication. What did you call it? The
modern communications ecosystem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we got going on down here. Modern communications ecosystem. And that's what's whooping the mainstream media's tuchus.
The modern communications ecosystem, where you step away from cable, you step away the dominance of 4 channels on TV. Podcasts matter, opinions matter. So many other things are bringing it out. You still have a year for that, and we've seen with Mandami what can happen, Pat, in a short time with the voting. But we got a year to where this gets serious. Next August 1st is where it really gets serious, because everybody that you read about on pollsters will tell you August 1st to October 1st next year is where the independents will move and choose as we go into midterms.
We'll see what happened. Adam, your thoughts on this?
The Democratic Party is a sinking ship, and I'm just so glad that I jumped off it a couple of years ago. I was on it for a little while, Scott. It was a bumpy ride. It was funny. We were at dinner last night. Thank you for a great dinner, PBD. And we ran into Roger Stone, and you're shaking Roger's.
Yo, that's general consensus, man. Democratic Party is a sinking ship. That is general consensus. Hold on, let's jump to this next part with Scott.
Because it's a great case study to see how people react. Scott, your thoughts?
So my comment on what you said is 2 years ago, you joined the Republicans. I think in the last 2 to 5 years, really since Trump, but really recently, his branding of the Republican Party as common sense versus, what's the alternative? Uncommon nonsense. Yeah. He has scrambled the ideological deck. It's
boom. That's the this is akin to the arguments Saul, myself, and Tito, and brothers that have showed up on the Sunday panel during the course of election season. Wrench Turner, Hoop, Hot Sauce. This is akin to the arguments we were making. And I'm only highlighting this because Scott Jennings is on mainstream television. He's on CNN, and you see him clash with Abby Phillips and the guests all the time. But the train of thought and the thinking and the level of analysis is pretty much on par with the arguments we've been making down here.
It's not really just conservative versus liberal anymore. It's not really just Republican versus Democrat. It's for him, and he talked about it at the inaugural. It's just common sense versus the alternative. And a lot of people who never thought of themselves as Republicans, who never voted, who rarely voted, who don't think of themselves as caring about politics at all, who wouldn't want to be called Democrat or Republican. They love to be behind the guy. Well, that's just a common sense thing.
Yeah.
The branding that he put on this is genius, because it makes your coalition more elastic. You can bring people in, non-political people who don't want to be caught up in the normal red blue.
Of course.
They love common sense. And that's what he's selling. And by the way, if you look at the polling, it's working. He's got a common sense view on immigration. He's got a common sense view on cultural, radicalism. He's got a common sense view on, well, maybe it would be better if we had tariff policy that was advantaging American workers and not foreign countries. These are common sense concepts. You don't have to be steeped in conservative ideology to go, oh yeah, that sounds right to me. Common sense.
Scott,
beautiful.
When did you flip? Because, Daily Show did a nice little hit piece on you and basically saying that you were very critical of Trump at one point, just like JD Vance, just like myself, just like a lot of other people. What caused you to flip?
Well, I voted Republican my whole life, and I did vote for him 3 times. But like everybody else, I didn't get it. I mean, I've readily admit I did not get it. I did not understand it. I did not get how this guy who hadn't been a Republican was coming along to take over the Republican Party. I did not get it. And so over time, I began to realize what he was doing.
And that's the quiet part out loud. And that's the part we keep reiterating. Like he said it. He's a lifelong Republican. He did not get how this guy who was not a Republican was coming to take over the party.
And I also began to realize the choice. And, in 2024, for me, there was Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump, the idea of common sense versus whatever it is she was selling. And so plus his opposition, the reflexive nature of his opposition to hate and try to delegitimize him on everything he does, I think is terrible for America. I mean, they're rooting. I mean, you wear that pin? They're rooting against America.
Yeah.
On the tariffs all April, they were hoping it would fail.
Imagine that.
They're hoping it would fail.
America.
On Iran, when
Just to
we
prove Trump
bombed the
wrong.
missile sites, what's the
Yeah.
first thing that happened? We got to impeach him.
Yeah, of
Oh,
course.
he didn't do that much damage.
Yeah.
The immediate delegitimization of this guy. Every time he does something, they root for America's failure. So does he everything he does, do I like? No politician I'm 100% all the time. But I'll tell you this, I like it that he roots for America. And I hate it that they root against America
Bingo.
just because he did it.
Bingo.
And I think that's why a lot of people are fine with it.
Let me
That's
ask you a
right.
follow-up on this, because forget about regular people.
Bingo. He's spot on. I think that's the general consensus across the board. And I've heard your everyday working man, black man, on social media as of late. I've made this comment before, echoing not using the exact same verbatim, but echoing those exact same sentiments. And I just think it's ironic, the ideological alignment that's going on across with men across race and class lines with regard to Trump.
People talk about the people that you sit down with every single day. I'm gonna assume they're not fans of Donald Trump.
No.
Starting with Abby Phillips all the way down that cast of characters. Do they hate Trump? Do they not love America? I mean, you're arguing with these people left and right. What is the common thread with most of these people?
Oh, I think for the left, for the ideological left, the motivating issue for them, and this is the core of the Democratic platform. If Trump is for it, we're against it. If he decided to do something, it inherently must be wrong. And every conversation is framed with that in mind. And so then you debate it out from there. But I think because they hate him personally, all decisions he makes must therefore be attacked or stated that it's going to somehow lead to America's downfall. Tax cuts, tariffs, judges, immigration policy, everything he ever does. Think about the apocalyptic language they use to describe everything. And it doesn't really turn out that way. Tax cuts were good for America. Turns out controlling the border means you can't actually close the border. It turns out the tariffs do give you leverage in trade negotiations. And so I just think it's a personal disposition. They hate this guy. Most of the people I debate with, they hate this guy.
Have you moved anybody?
Have I moved anybody?
Have you moved anybody? A little bit.
On those
anybody's
panels?
like, your friends.
I think I have made points that people say, I hadn't thought of that. But you have to understand, I'm debating people who fundamentally see the world differently
way.
than I
Yeah.
see it. And look, I come from Kentucky. I'm a lifelong Republican. I'm a conservative. They don't come from middle America. They're lifelong liberals. And they also carry and harbor this personal hatred for Trump. And when that sort of colors your thinking about policy, you can see where the debates go.
Rob, can we see a clip of this Daily Show going after Scott?
All right, bet. Saul with the $10 super chat. He says, remember how Obama ran on the American worker in 2008? Backstabbed him and bailed out the banks? Him and Biden made a fruitocracy. That's funny. A fruitocracy of the U.S. Now Trump has shown and proved he's for the common man. I think that's the argument that Scott just laid out as well.
Man, fuck all you hoes. Fuck you and your mammy and your granny too. I'm sick of this shit. Fuck all you hoes. Don't give a damn, bitch, what you want.
All right, bet. Let's see what we got here. He says exactly. Yeah, it's a reactive identity that the Democrats have with regard. They have no policy. Their whole policy is being against whatever Trump is for, and then it puts them in a trick bag because they end up being against America because he has a full mandate. Dems got a reactive identity against Trump and only bussy and immigrants. And we actually that's a good segue into the next segment also, because we're gonna double down on that point Saul actually just made. This is why Kamala couldn't answer policy agenda questions. Facts. Scott Jennings has a World War II Iwo Jima flamethrower on his back. He's cooking. Yeah, that's why. You guys see, I have a lot of shorts of Scott Jennings tearing up the liberals on Abby Phillips panel, because you get a twofer for that. You get to hear these Democratic talking points just get beat to smithereens in real time. Like, he just wipes the floor with them. He wipes the floor with them. Like I said, Abby Phillips at night, her show's got great ratings, but people watch Abby Phillips for Scott Jennings. They don't watch it for Abby. She's a moron. She's a dilettante and a moron. Let me see. Was there one more piece I wanted? Let me see if I get the tail end of this.
It's still negative. It's like, it's not like it's positive and the Republican Party went up, or it's still in the negative. Do you think there's millions of people that are trying to find a party that they don't relate to?
I think there are more people who dislike politics, period, and they don't necessarily trust political institutions or either parties. I think the Republicans are in far better shape.
I like this point that he's making right here, because that sentiment I think we can all agree, at least safely say, that's the sentiment of most black male voters as well. They pretty much don't trust or like either party. We all know the old adage, Democrat and Republican are the two different wings on the same bird sort of thing. And there's a tremendous amount of truth to that. However, I've made the argument that actually, I'll reiterate part of it now, that the Republican Party, as it is right now and in this current iteration, that's just a title. It's Republican Party in name only. What you have under the Trump administration is him turning that entire party to what? The MAGA Republicans, which is pretty much a populist party with policy for and of the people, for the middle class and working class, America first of policies, non-globalist policies. It is a populist / nationalist party. And when I say nationalist, I don't mean it in a pejorative sense, like white power or being xenophobic. I mean it primarily from the standpoint of and Black Americans, white Americans, people who are naturalized American citizens, wanting the resources and the tax dollars that they're being paid. They want them reinvested back into the country, into the populace, into the infrastructure, into programs and employment and building and making the country stronger. They don't want their money sent to the Ukraine and all these foreign countries for wars and giving them resources and benefits out of the taxpayer coffers. And that's a very commonsensical thing.
But yeah, I think we have a growing number of people in this country who, they just don't think of themselves as being party people. They might like an individual candidate. Obviously, there are people who love Donald Trump, but they just don't think of themselves as partisans. They think of themselves in some other way. And the Democrats, you mentioned COVID. Wasn't just COVID. It was COVID. But remember, the summer of 2020, the riots, the cultural sort of disposition that everybody else has to be locked in your house unless you're out protesting for a good reason. Then you're absolved somehow.
PBD, I want to give you a shout out because you pointed out something that we sort of just glossed over about how bad this is. Let me tell you how bad this is. In the last 35 years, the lowest any party has ever been is -20. And the Democrats are like, you know what? Hold my beer. We're about to go way lower than that. The Democratic brand is so tarnished. We've never seen a major party this low. The lowest the Republicans were after 9/11, before COVID with Trump.
What I'm asking is the following.
Yep.
I'm asking to see, Scott, for you that follows all these stories and the polls and everything that's going on, is there an appetite for a Musk America party? Like, remember when Ross Perot started the Reform Party when he got 18.4%, and then he ran again in 96 and he only got 8.4%? Are we at a place that we have an appetite for people to join the third party?
I don't think so. First of all, our system is not built for independent candidacies, but I would just tell you, I think we already lived through this. Trump was our independent moment.
Bingo. This is the argument I made to Saul the other day. Trump's actually really the first independent candidate administration. If you look at it at face value, he couldn't run as an independent, so he took the party over. And then what did he do? If you look at this administration and leading up, he absorbed 2 third-party candidates. He absorbed Tulsi Gabbard, and he absorbed RFK into the party. So if you really look at it on his face and just take the Republican label off of the party, Trump's an independent, RFK's an independent, and so is Tulsi Gabbard. So you got, and he absorbed them into his cabinet and gave them prominent roles, and they are contributing to policy initiatives. Although Trump's the quarterback and the chief architect. So really, what we're actually and the results that you're seeing kind of play that out. We're actually living through a third party, independent party candidacy right now. Right. Yeah, Scott Jennings hit it right on the head.
I think the way he won in 16 and the way he won in 24, when you look at the people who voted for him, yes, most Republicans, but his attraction of people who were not terribly political, didn't think of themselves as being Republicans or conservatives or had voted Democrat, I think they were attracted to him because they saw him as an independent actor, somebody who would not be hemmed in by any political party or any political system. I think we already lived through this. In my opinion, he's a Republican. He's had a Republican Party, but he is also, I think, for a lot of people, somebody who was external to the system and therefore represented an independent kind of attitude in Washington.
Once a year, we host a conference called the Vol Conference. We're expecting 1,000 people.
Spot on. Scott Jennings. He's one of the sharpest tools in the toolbox right now on mainstream media out there getting busy. And he echoed elements of my arguments that I make to Saul behind the scenes and from time to time impartially make on the Sunday show, and then sometimes here on the news desk at night. So Pookie and Ray Show says Trump has imposed his will exactly over the entire Republican Party. Exactly. We're at the 1 hour, 6 minute mark. I actually want to get this one in. Cause I want to piggyback on this. The imploding of Democratic Party and the failures of the Democratic Party thus far in this during this term, juxtaposed to Trump's historic wins for his administration as well for the country. We're going to bring one of our favorites back, Soldier of Finance. And this one is Congress exposed fighting for illegals while ignoring this American crisis. And I wanted to do this segment because he does a very good job at laying out two parallels and an argument that I've made before. This argument, he's showing these Democrats how they're just going to the mat for these illegals. Many of them who are being deported are actual criminals. They're showing up to the detention centers and they're all concerned about their conditions. And he's going to juxtapose that with a young man in New York who was being held without due process, what have you, and there was no outcry for him. He was brutally beaten on Rikers Island, which has some of the worst prison conditions in the country. And there was no sort of, and he's juxtaposing that, saying, hey, look at this story. We didn't have any sort of Democratic involvement in that, but these Democrats are going to the wall for people who aren't even U.S. citizens. So, this is where we're at with this party. Like I said, if you're a heterosexual American black man, shame on you if you vote for this damn party in the midterms or in 2028.
All the while ignoring the plight. Congressional Democrats will go to hell and back for illegal immigrants, all the while ignoring the plight of Americans that are suffering. It's political corruption at its finest. In this case, it involves the least of us, so to speak. People who are incarcerated, Americans who are incarcerated. You've heard me talk about this many times. So here we have a congressional delegation from Maryland, headed up today by Kwesi Mfume. He's the damn near 80-year-old guy with twist in his hair. The goon you see standing over his shoulder is actually my congressman, Johnny Olszewski. Look at how passionately they advocate for non-citizens who are detained. And then we're going to look at some conditions in American prisons and ask the question, why aren't we seeing action there from Congress?
Federal lawmakers are outside a federal building in Baltimore where immigration detainees are being held by ICE. They were there planning to tour that facility, which has been the subject of some scrutiny before. Most recently, immigrant rights advocates rallying outside the facility last month against what they call inhumane living conditions there. So for more, let's go to Chanel Call, who is tracking this story for us. Chanel, what did those lawmakers talk about?
Well, Reed, that holding facility, by the way, is in Southeast Baltimore, and they were there this morning, those lawmakers, including Senator Chris Van Hollen, who's also advocated for the release of Kilmer Abrego Garcia. And they said they weren't able to get in, Reed, to take a look at some of the conditions inside. Listen now to Congressman Kwesi Mfume explain why.
We were not allowed entry, and so we had to stand outside, bang on the door, and ultimately sit down in front of the door. Finally, a director came out and explained to us that she had been given direction not to allow anyone, member of the House or Senate or anyone else, into the facility. We began to ask her where she got her authority from, and her response was, "That's my directive." Now, we brought with us, and we'll read to you before we leave and certainly give to you, the public law that oversees this situation, a law that determines that members of the United States Congress, both the House and the Senate, have jurisdictional oversight over all ICE facilities, not whether they're a detention facility or something else, but over all facilities. I am a senior member of the Oversight Committee. I am the ranking member of the Committee on Government Operations, and I explained that to her, but she was not prepared to hear it or to deal with it.
That law does not give members of Congress the ability to go into restricted or secured areas without a prior appointment. Now, why would that be? Because why the hell would you take a member of Congress into a place where you already are holding dangerous criminals, people who have come here and committed acts of violence to the American people, right? Or to their own people who may also be illegal. So why would I take Kwesi Mfume back behind the line to interact inside a cell block when we didn't have a prior appointment set up so that we could have adequate security for him? No, that law does not give him the permission to just come in unannounced and expect to inspect secured areas. He's lying by omission. Okay, none of them tell you that. And CBS, aptly named CBS, they won't tell you that.
For months now, officials with the Amicus Center for Immigrant Rights had alleged that people there were facing some pretty tough and harsh conditions. Some, they say, were forced to sleep on the floor. They said that they weren't getting enough food and water, and that they're being held there for days, sometimes even up to 60 days. They say, Reed, that actually exceeds the standard 12-hour holding limit, and that, they say, has led to overcrowding.
Now, I want to know from you. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever seen any other issue that the Democrats have gotten together and advocated for so passionately that concerns we the people? Have you ever known anything else where they're actually willing to fight federal officers, as is the case with LaMonica McIver, the congresswoman from New Jersey, who is currently under a federal indictment for assaulting ICE officers? Have you ever known a Democrat to do something like that? Okay, for any issue that pertains to the benefit of we the people.
Spot on. This is the argument we've been making for like the last several months, especially for these Democratic black lawmakers. They don't go that hard for their own constituents. Look at Chicago. Look at Detroit, bro. Look at LA. All these black Democrat leaders. And they don't go hard like this for their own constituents.
Right? And they keep doing it. Now, I called Olszewski's office this afternoon, and I told him, I said, hey, have you thought about looking into the conditions at Baltimore's Central Booking or the Jessup Correctional Facility? Have you thought about that? Have you thought about going to inspect that? I haven't heard him say anything about the conditions there. Listen, speaking of conditions of not just American prisons, but American jails, like Rikers Island. It's notorious, right? That's just the one that everybody knows and stands out. I might say Central Booking in Baltimore, and you might not know what it is, but you can be from, the Ozarks, the Appalachians, or the mountains of Alaska, and you know what Rikers Island is. It's a tragic place. And it's a place where innocent people end life.
We turn now to another tragic story about a young man who learned the hard way about the troubles plaguing America's criminal justice.
Bang, this is it. I'm so glad he did this segment, because this illustrates the argument myself, Saul, Tito, and several brothers that have been on the panels on Sunday have been making. And it's just an open, blatant observation. Watching the Democrats, in particular, our black elected officials, many who are non-FBA, by the way, watching this play out, the lengths and extents that they're going to protect and give taxpayer money to every which way. Some even getting arrested for people who are not even U.S. citizens. And he's going to juxtapose it with this story right here that illustrates the point. This person is a U.S. citizen. And look at the effort the Democrats put forth for this one.
Justice system. Khalif Browner was arrested at 16, never convicted of a crime, never had a trial, but spent more than 3 years in one of the most violent jails in the country. Tonight, here is Khalif in his own words.
You're supposed to be innocent to prove guilty, but the way the system is you're guilty to prove innocent.
Little did we know Khalif Browder was already dying inside the day we met him. At the easy age of 22, he'd already learned more about America's criminal justice system and endured more than any soul should ever have to. That's Khalif there on the floor inside Rikers Island, New York City's most notorious jail, beaten by a gang of fellow inmates, all caught on camera. At the age of 16, he was arrested and sent here for allegedly stealing a backpack.
It was like hell on earth. We were beaten, stomped by the correction officers, and they was just beating on me.
Beatings captured on surveillance video obtained by the New Yorker magazine, which first brought Khalif's story to light. In this video, we see him being escorted to the prison shower. He appears to speak to the guard, who in seconds is seen slamming him into a wall and then to the ground.
And I cried myself to sleep because it's like, I want to go home, and it's like they're not letting me go home.
To go home, Khalif's mother, Vanita Browder, needed to post bail of $3,000, money she said she just didn't have.
What was your reaction when you heard that your 16-year-old boy was being sent to Rikers Island?
My heart dropped. You know, I had heard so many horror stories about Rikers, and all I could picture was him getting hurt in there.
Court records show Khalif had attempted suicide at least 6 times, spent 1,110 days behind bars, more than 800 of those in solitary confinement. His court date postponed more than 30 times. He endured all this having never been given a trial, never convicted of a crime. Finally, in June of 2013, all charges against Khalif were dismissed. But his experience exposed a troubled criminal justice system and the brutality of life behind bars.
I think at some point, almost a reckless disregard by the prosecutors in this case. They didn't care, Byron. They saw his file. They saw that he was in jail. And he'd probably take a plea, and they were hoping he'd take a plea.
The judge told me that if I plead guilty, I would release from jail that same day. But I didn't do it. You're not gonna make me say I did something just so I could go home.
When we first met him, November of last year, he was doing better, he said. Earned his GED, started classes at Bronx Community College, pulling a 3.56 GPA. But the psychological trauma from jail had taken its toll.
And when he first came home, he would just walk the 4 corners of the driveway.
You hear animals do that have been confined to a space.
Yes, he did it. And I had to watch my baby go through all of that.
In the last year, Khalif grew depressed, deeply paranoid.
You know, deep down, I'm a mess. I feel like I'm a grown old man.
And then 2 Saturdays ago, 2 years after his release from jail, Khalif Browder hanged himself with an air conditioner cord in his home in the Bronx. He was 22.
All right, and thus ends the case of Khalif Browder, well, the life at least. Now, there are many stories like that you don't hear anything about. Look at how complex that situation was. He stole a backpack, allegedly, okay? But then he got lost in the system. Young men and women out there who think this criminal lifestyle is glorious and glamorous, you better think twice, all right? Khalif Browder, accused of stealing a backpack. Prosecutors realizing the kid doesn't have any money. He's saying he didn't do it. He goes into a very violent, and look, with regard to the violence in America's jails and prisons, that's just one thing. We got violence. We got brutality by the guards. We've covered some of that. Okay, now, obviously, not all guards are involved in that, but there have been some cases of it, right? You've got an inability to get out of the situation because you can't afford a lawyer, all right? So it's a multifaceted problem, one in which I think our congressmen and women and senators should spend time thinking about, as opposed to worrying about folk that are not even citizens of this country, all right, and are being held until we can get them the hell up out of here. So the Democrats are again showing you what they're all about. And look, let me be clear about this. If you are a convicted, violent felon, then you need to be locked up away from productive society. All right? But if you are a nonviolent felon or a nonviolent offender, someone who's alleged to have offended nonviolently, then there, in my mind, is still a chance at rehabilitation to prevent recidivism. Okay? Again, it's a multifaceted problem. I think the hip hop culture plays a big role into influencing the undeveloped minds of youth into this poisonous culture. But at the end of the day, it's disgusting that you've got senators, U.S. senators and U.S. congressmen ignoring this problem. And oh, by the way, this is just magnifying one aspect of it. They're ignoring every other issue, whether you're locked up or not, in favor of going balls to the wall and being representatives, not for we the people, but for citizens of other countries. Citizens of other countries who came here and are residents illegally. We make upwards of 1 million people per year on average, naturalized citizens who come to this country and go through the process legally. Don't let these charlatan Democrats tell you that we have an immigration problem. We do not. The United States of America brings more people in and naturalizes more people than any other country on earth.
Well played, sir. Yeah, I wanted to play that segment because we've been making that argument for a while. It was dope to have this pop up on my timeline and someone actually make a video that illustrated that point that I was making. Can't get a better comparison than that. So when you see the Monica MacIver in Newark, who's got a ridiculous crime problem and prisons there, getting arrested outside an ICE facility for detainees, illegal immigrant detainees that are being deported. And that facility is reserved for holding violent offenders, PDF files, rapists, etc. And she's getting arrested outside to make sure that they're okay, while this case we just saw in New York, and there's thousands of those cases, and the Democrats aren't halfway fired up about that. It just makes you look at the party like, what are we doing here? All right, guys, we're at the 1 hour 25 minute mark. We got started a little late tonight, but I wanted to come on. That's my time. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode of MTV News Desk. I want to thank everybody who came out, hung out with me in the chat. Salute to Kwame Kaiju. Thanks for sending me that news clip with the Marine. He said 38 hot, bro. What's that mean? Like, he said, right on time, about to shut down for the night. Yeah. I know I know on the East Coast it's late, on the Eastern Standard Time. I'm on Central down here. So yeah. But I wanted to come on, just like Brother Zeke said. He said he wasn't sure there was going to be a show tonight. He thought he missed it. Yeah. Yeah. But that's why pissed off equals 38 hot. Y'all get murdered by the autocorrect. I'm looking at the chat. No, but that's why I wanted to cover that segment, because we've been consistently making that argument just off sheer observation. And when I saw this segment by Soldiers of Finance, it it visually and viscerally drove that point home that we were trying to make. Sometimes I can show you better than I can tell you. On that fact, just mere fact alone, like the level of disdain for this party and the elected officials that are supposed to be representing us and their constituents and such. Like I said, this party's got nothing for the heterosexual productive black man. Got nothing for us. Well, like I said, man, we're gonna tie it down for the night. I will be back tomorrow night. I want to thank everybody who supported the stream. Everybody came through, hung out with me on the chat, contributed to the chat so we can have the conversation. Man, I will see you tomorrow. Thursday, we got Obsidian up in here for another sit down. We're going to be Obsidian, Saul, and myself. We will be going through the Trump's debate with the economists at the Bloomberg Economic Forum in Chicago. We're going to go through the whole thing. And that was a request from the chat. So yeah, man, like we always do about now, man, I want to say good night and good luck.
In a shocking development, the federal government says being broke is allowed, but if you're broke and glowing, you are officially now a suspect.
You can't be glowing more than your financial status. Look your problem.
In a shocking development.
Panel. This country needs stronger border security. Our border security is the strongest in the world.
What we need is to take care of our children.
I can't get an erection. You think giving them amnesty is fair to the people who are already here? They're contributing to the economy. I've tried all the herbs. Amnesty is never the answer. It's not amnesty. It's recognizing their contributions to our country. They said to meditate, but I keep falling asleep. We need stronger vetting.
And to enforce the laws already on the books.
I'm terrified of being alone with my wife. It's too much pressure. Well, nothing's ever going to change if Congress isn't willing to compromise. Exactly my point.
A wall would solve this.
I wake up with an erection, but never when she's in the bed with me. A wall would solve nothing.
These children have rights.
I spent $3 grand on a sandals vacation thinking that might do it. Know what it was? Me being limp on a lazy river.
Well, that's all the time we have. Thank you to Peter Griffin.
No, don't send me home to my wife. Democrats. Panel. This country needs...
Sorry.
Hey, where's Stewie? That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. Okay, I don't know. Whatever it is, it's not right on the teleprompter.
There it is. We are going to do Sting, yeah.
There's no words there. To play us out. What does that mean, to play us out? To end the show?
Yeah.
All right, go.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today, and we'll leave you with a... I can't do it. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. I'm Stewie Griffin. Thanks for watching. We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away.